Welcome everybody to What's Your Problem on the Junk Removal Authority YouTube and Facebook channel. I am Lee Godbold. I'm joined in the studio today with Melissa, who is our call center director. Thanks for being here, Melissa.
Sure. Hi, Mom.
So, you can probably guess if we have our call center director in here what the topic of today's show is going to be, which is going to be telephones. It's how to take that call, how to book that job, which is extremely important. Obviously, if you're not very good on the phones, if you want freedom in your life or you're not a slave to this telephone, which I was for 5 years, the JRA call center is a great option for you. We'll talk about the call center a bit more in detail at the end of today's episode. But what we're going to cover is just how the call center handles calls throughout this episode. Now, while you guys are watching, it would be awesome, it'd be fantastic if you would post in the comments what are some of the craziest calls, the craziest customers that you guys have ever had. Aaron will let us know as those come through and we can kind of discuss them. And if you guys have a question that just stumps you all the time, if it's a single item pickup or whatever, let us know what that question might be. We'll let you know how we would handle it as well. So let's kind of get started going. What we're covering today is the phone stuff. It's how we handle it with junk doctors as well as the 10 or 15 companies we work with in our JRA call center. And this topic is really more important than the trucks that you get. It's more important than the people you hire. It's more important than what you charge. And it's every bit as important in your marketing as well as your website. Because if you have a website, you have a marketing that's going to lead to phone calls. If you can't handle the phone calls, there's no reason to have a marketing or website. You're just wasting money. And if you're not booking jobs, you don't need people. You don't need to worry about what you're pricing because you're actually not doing any jobs. So this subject might be a bit boring for some. This is one of the most important topics we're going to cover.
It's exciting for me.
So, Melissa, tell everybody kind of, one of the first things that we need to cover is in junk removal, you have a couple different ways of doing appointments. Some people like doing an estimate. They like driving to it, giving a price, and scheduling it for another day. That's fairly common for some companies, but the way we treat it and the way most of your franchises treat it and the way our call center customers treat it is how? How do we handle it?
We explain how it all works. A lot of people will call and I've never done this before. How do you do this? How's it priced? How do you come to me? Is it by volume? How do you price? All that stuff. So we talk about, we arrive in 2-hour arrival windows because you just never know. We talk about how we will do an on-site estimate or quote when we get there. We can give the pricing over the phone, how everything is priced by the amount of space that your stuff takes up in the truck, the size of the trucks.
So it's a 2-hour arrival window, and we give an estimate on site.
On site.
We don't like giving estimates outside of that regular arrival window because you have that extra cost of actually going out there. So just keep that in mind when we're talking about these appointments as we're scheduling the estimate and the job at the exact same time. All right, so the rules of the phone call, number one, the most important, and this is very basic, but it's amazing how many people don't do it, is you need to answer the phone.
Answer the phone.
The second rule is you need to control the call. The third one is what, Melissa?
You control the call, qualify, talk to get the information, qualify, get the information, yep.
The fourth one?
Acknowledge
and handle objection. And then that fifth one,
book it.
Is
Go for the
always ask for an appointment. So if you've qualified this person, if junk removal is a service that they need that you do, or if the service they're asking for is something that you do, and they're willing to pay at least a roundabout price of what you need to charge, you need to always ask for that appointment. So, always answering. I think it's pretty clear why you should always answer the phone, because if you don't answer, somebody's just going to go right down the list.
Right to the next one.
Unless they've used you before, they're going to go right down to the next person on Google. There's no loyalty at all, brand loyalty whatsoever, unless there's a referral or a repeat customer. You know what I missed? The distracting environment. So one of them.
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons why we've had clients that ask for us.
So this is very common. Is when I first started. Let's go right distracting up there. When I first got going, I would be going down the road, talking on the phone, be sitting there trying to jot down on a sheet of paper a particular job. The customer hears that, or you're in the middle of a job,
job,
and you're
yeah.
about out of breath.
Yeah.
And
Or just don't want to talk.
Yeah.
I've had people say that.
well, yeah. I mean, you
can
could
tell.
also- yeah. So that environment's is pretty big. You're going to book less jobs if it sounds like it's a busy environment, like you don't want to be on the phone. The customer's
You're
going to pick up on
inconveniencing
that.
the customer, yeah.
And you also find that you're going to hurry yourself a little bit. So
True.
you're going to skip. We're about to talk about the structure of the call. You'll actually skip the structure of the call when you're driving or when you
Miss that important information.
when you're working because you're trying to continue working. You're
Yep.
trying to get that job done. So controlling the call. What does that mean?
Basically, you don't want the customer to be asking all the questions and you just answering it. You want to be the one asking those questions so that you know the order, like you said, we're
correct
about to
order.
get, in the correct order of how to get that job booked. You need to get that information. That you don't want them saying, well, how do you do it this way? How do you do it that way? You already should have an idea of where you want that phone call to go so you can, in the end, book that job.
Excellent. Yeah. So just think about it this way. You want to get, if the customer's the one that's always asking you questions, if they're in control when it comes time to ask for the appointment,
Yep. Yeah.
it completely messes things up. So like, for example, like if somebody calls in and they say, all right, explain how you charge. If you immediately answer how you charge, you're going out of order.
And they have exactly the information they want. They can call the next guy and see what their
Exactly.
job is.
So at the very end, you're going to answer the question, but you still don't have all the other pieces of information you need to book
Yep.
the job. So we're going to cover that in just a second on
Yep.
the structure of the call. So you want to make sure that you go in the order that you need to get information. Do not go outside of the order of these calls, which we're about to cover. Qualifying the caller, that's just making sure that you provide the service they need and they're willing to pay. Acknowledge and handle the objection. So we're going to cover objections later, but anytime you get an objection, you need to, acknowledge that, hey, it is an objection, such as, I need to check with the spouse.
I understand that, sure.
Exactly, completely understand.
Validate it.
However, and then you're going to go into handling the objection, and then you're going to make sure after you handle that objection that you go for the close. You need to always, always, always ask for an appointment.
Go right into
If somebody says, after you're done explaining pricing, they say, okay, I'll call you back. There needs to be a follow-up, or what do you say to I'll call you back? So, and we're going to cover that in just a minute.
That's it. You want me to answer now?
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. So the structure of the call, this is extremely important right here. There's 4 different stages in the call. The first one is info gathering. What is that, Melissa?
Where are you? When do you need this done by? What do you have?
And what? Oh, never mind. You said it. I guess
just
the other
said
one.
it.
The other one was, have you used this before?
Have you used this before?
Info giving.
And I usually ask that at the very end. I forget. Yeah. Have you used this before? That saves some time, actually, so that you don't have to go through it all.
So tell everybody why it's so important to get that information up front,
Well,
especially the time frame.
You want to know where they are, so you make sure that they're in your area where you can service. You want to know what they have, so you can kind of have an idea of what the pricing is going to be, and if you can do it. What was it? Oh, the time frame. So then, of course, the time frame, so you can start looking at that day, looking at that time, making sure that you can actually fit them in that schedule. And if you can't, how you can finagle it, I guess, to where you can book that job. You need to know when they can go.
Well, the time frame
And
is also...
is it something two weeks down the road, or is it something right now?
Well, and the time frame is a closing technique we use as well. It's really important when you handle objections. You want to use that time frame to your advantage. So, for example, if somebody says they need it done within the next 4 days, all right, they have a hard deadline more or less of about the next 4 days.
Yeah.
So when you go through and you explain your pricing, you're going to go immediately, so you're going to transition from info giving into immediately booking the job. And you're going to use that 4-day time frame to offer
advantage.
Suggestions of time slots for that individual. So let's go through this. All right, so the first thing on the info gathering, again, you need, have they used this before?
Yeah.
Where they're located, what they have, and their time frame on actually getting that completed. Okay, so let's you and I do a call right now.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so the phone's ringing. You pick up.
Do it. Ring, 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 ring.
Ring.
That's how we train.
Yep.
Hello, this is Melissa with Junk Doctors. How can I help you? Always with a smile.
Hey, Melissa, I would like to book a junk removal pickup.
Great. Okay, so where are you located?
I'm in Raleigh.
Excellent. Okay, and what do you have? What is it you need to be removed?
I've got a couch, love seat, and about 6 boxes.
I'm writing this down usually. Couch, love seat, yeah. Okay, and what are you looking for? When do you need us to come out there to do this for you?
By Friday.
Excellent. Okay, so have you ever used this before?
No, I have not.
Excellent. So So do you need me to go over the pricing with you?
That would be fantastic if you would.
Okay, so we price based on the amount of space that your stuff takes up in the truck. Our trucks are 8 feet wide, 10 feet long, and 5 feet high. So they're equivalent to about 6 pickup truckloads. Pricing will start at about a minimum of 125, goes through 12 different price points to a full truckload of 540. We provide the labor, so no matter where the stuff is, whether it's in the property, in the attic, in the basement, we'll go ahead and take care of that for you right then and there. They're going to give you a quote on site once you go through with them what it is you need to be removed. And we can be out there, looks like we can be out there Wednesday between the hours of 4 and 6, or we could even do Thursday, an arrival window between 8 and 10. Which one do you like better?
Perfect. Okay. So what you noticed
you
right there
trained
is,
me.
again, she went just from pricing directly into suggesting some time slots. Notice she didn't ask, would you like to schedule after that? She took that time frame and she suggested a couple time slots.
Which is
now,
better for you.
If those time slots don't work, that person is probably going to tell you. And then you're going to find an appropriate time slot. One of the other reasons in this info gathering stage that you ask them what city they're in is while you're explaining all this, because this should be about second nature.
Yeah, you're looking.
You can be looking on your calendar and you can figure out, okay, this person has a couch, a love seat, and 6 boxes. You know, it's probably a quarter to a third truckload. You know, is there an area I can combine this with another job in that area?
Yeah.
So it's a great way for you to save money if you're really looking at the
and there's that
location
controlling
of
the call again. You control when you can go there.
Most of you guys, and if you guys do this, let us know if this has been something that you've done in the past, because we did it for years, is you're going to pause when you're done explaining pricing. So you say, yeah, we charge anywhere from $99 to $540, 12 different price points in between. We provide labor no matter where the stuff is. We're going to give you a price up front. Pause. And that's not what you want to do. What that's doing is that's leaving that customer's mind on pricing.
Yeah.
So they're thinking about pricing. So now they're in a perfect opportunity to say, okay, let me think about it. I'm going to call around. I'm going to check on pricing, whatever. You leave them a perfect opportunity to do that. Instead, when you transition immediately into scheduling the appointment, you also transition what that person's thinking about, focusing on. And since you've been controlling the call, they've gotten in the habit of answering your questions one after the other.
Yep.
So they're just going to keep answering your questions.
Exactly.
Whereas had they been asking you the questions and you were following in line, you don't have control of this call.
Yep.
They're probably going to hang up.
They're going or I'll call you back. Yeah.
Okay. On the as far as booking the job, that step we don't need to cover in detail. It's just getting their information. Now, guys, I will say you want to get email addresses, obviously phone numbers, mailing addresses, because you want to be able to use that to market to customers later on.
Is it going to be them? Is it going to be somebody
else? If it's a different contact, make sure you get that.
And also, if you do any kind of arrival window, please make sure to reiterate that. We have a booking between the hours of 8 and 10. It is a 2-hour arrival window. The guys are going to call you a half hour before they get there, let you know they're on their way. Let them know of that, because a lot of times I've gotten calls, hey, you guys said you're going to be here at 10 o'clock. It's 11. Where are you? It's a 2-hour arrival window, as we spoke about. Obviously, you say it a little bit nicer than that, but...
Yeah, and then you want like confirmation emails or text messages also reiterating that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people hear you, but they don't listen.
They don't listen.
So pricing is one of the most important things to explain properly in a junk removal call. And the reason is if a lot of people, they fumble around on this pricing thing. So I've heard, this is one of the things I've worked in some of our consulting calls, I've worked with some of our customers on. And then some of our customers that have hired us for like Google AdWords management, where AdWords is getting phone calls, but they're not booking. It's oftentimes the person answering the call. Yeah. So unlike other ads agencies, we actually work with you. We know how to book junk removal jobs, so we're actually able to improve their closing percentages. And most of the time, it lies in how they explain pricing. So I've heard all kinds of stuff. I've heard the first thing is people ask, how do you price? And they immediately answer, and they say, well, it's based on how much space your stuff takes up in the truck. So, if you have... we've got an eighth of a load that's 135. We have a quarter of a load that's 250. We have a half load that's 300. And sometimes they've never even explained how large the truck is.
Right.
But
so
even if they
you're overloading them with information. Like,
even if you explain the size of the truck, almost nobody's going to be able to visualize it.
No.
So you can tell them it's 8 by 10 by 5, and they might think that's like a dump truck, or they might think it's like a pickup truck. You don't ever really know. So what you want to do is you want to give them the sizes, but equate it to pickup truckloads. It's equivalent to about 6 pickup truckloads.
Everybody knows what a pickup truck looks like. Yeah.
More or less. They still don't know how much space, how much stuff you can get in a pickup.
Or they assume they know.
But you got to equate it to something, so we equate it to pickup truckloads. And then we give them a range from the bottom to the top. We don't worry about a half load's this, a quarter load's this, 3/4 load's this. even when a customer asks that question, we're going to answer it, but it muddies everything up. So you want to try and avoid.
Keep it straight.
You want to try and avoid those medium price points. Just give them the range. Tell them it's somewhere in between, and they're going to be given
Somewhere
a
in
price.
between. That's right. Yeah, that's where I say. Yeah.
And then transition right over. So again, I'm going to go through this real fast again. On the pricing explanation, we price based on the amount of space your items take up in our trucks. The trucks are 8 feet wide, 10 feet long, and 5 feet high. That's equivalent to about 6 pickup truck loads. Pricing's anywhere from a minimum of $125. It goes to a full load rate of $540. We do provide the labor no matter where the stuff is. We're going to go and get it, and we are going to be providing you with a price up front as well. If you give us the go-ahead, we're going to start the job right then and there. As far as availability, I know you need it done within the next 3 days. I've got XXX, whatever.
This and this,
Yep.
which is better.
It's kind of a
Which do you
weird
prefer?
3 letters to use right there.
You
But
know, with
yeah.
XXX.
Yeah,
Did you really just say that?
Yeah. Anyway, all right, moving on.
Moving on.
So, extremely important to hit that pricing correct. Aaron, before we move on to the next thing, got any questions or comments or anything?
Yeah, we've got one from Juan on YouTube.
Okay.
How do you charge booking, return, repeating, and referral clients?
Is that in relation to the call center, you think? Any idea?
Yes.
Okay. So the call center is a flat rate. It's $295 a month.
Yeah,
And it's $25 per book job, and that doesn't matter if
Book
it's
job.
new, if it's old, whatever. So again, the call center is not a lead generation service. It's an answering service where all we do is book your junk removal jobs. So it doesn't really matter where the job came from. We're going to get it booked for you. More details will be at the end of this episode on the call center as well, specifics. So make sure you guys stick around for that. Anything else?
Yeah, so I think for that booking return, can we also kind of give an explanation on what happens if a client cancels a job?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a 15.
Yeah.
If you book 10 jobs,
If we book 10 jobs.
Yeah, if we book 10 jobs, it's a 15, we allow for 15% cancellation. So that means that some people are going to call and they're going to cancel.
Yeah.
Some people are going to get on site and you're not going to do the job.
Yeah.
So we automatically do a 15% cancellation rate. And sometimes in a month, if you do a really good job closing, you might only 10% of your jobs cancel. Well, heck, you made 5%
Yeah,
loss.
exactly.
Some months it might be 20% cancel. Well, we made 5% on you. But it all kind of averages out there.
it averages
Makes things
out.
very simple. So it's a 15% automatic credit for any of the jobs that we schedule. Anything else?
And
That's
again,
awesome,
we
guys.
only
Thank you,
charge
Juan.
what we book.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to get calls and they're not going to book, or we're going to get a call that says, hey, I was looking for this person. Are they there? Or are you hiring? We'll answer those calls, but we only charge for what we book.
And I need to also practice what I preach here. I need to be able to control this call, which that was
Sorry.
in a way a call. No, I'm not talking about you.
Oh.
So one, also on pricing, don't be afraid to raise your prices. So if you're paying $25 per book job, don't be afraid to raise your average price by about
to pay
$15.
for the jobs that we book. Yeah.
Yeah, you were extremely confident we're going to be able to book those jobs, even if you're getting $15 more on average. We're probably going to book, I don't know your skills, but I imagine we're likely going to book as good, if not better, or a higher percentage. Most customers we can book a higher percentage than they themselves do. And that's the reason they want to hire us.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with it.
They don't want to deal with it.
Okay, so Melissa, let's go into objections, because this right here is where we really close a lot of jobs that others won't. Because too many people, they hear an objection, let me check with my husband. Oh, okay, well, that's fine, just call us back.
Yeah. No,
So,
don't do that.
Which is violating,
So-
it's not up there anymore, it's violating always
Oh,
going for the close.
You erased it. Oh,
Yep.
okay.
So let's go in.
Yeah, check with the husband.
Let's start talking about
Okay.
objections here. So
Okay.
by far and away, the most common
Check
is
with
check with spouse. And guys, by the way, post on there what kind of objections do you hear? All right,
Yes.
so check with. I got to check with my husband, my wife, boss, whatever.
Well, yeah, and the boss, yeah. I'll get that. And let me check with the boss, and I'll get back to you, and I'll say something cute like, oh, you're such a good husband. I totally understand that. But listen, here's what we're going to do. Here's what I'd like to do for you. We book really fast. So why don't I just get you on the schedule? There's no obligation. There's no penalty if you end up calling me and saying, hey, she doesn't want to do it, or can we do a different day? She's not going to be here. There's no penalty for that. It's a lot, and this is something silly, and it does, for some reason it makes sense. It's a lot easier to move you around if we need to reschedule than actually find a space for you in the schedule. For some reason that works. But you just say, I understand, acknowledge it, I understand. Let's just get you on just in case, because you might lose this, and I know you want to get this done in the next 3 days, so let's get this on. Let's get you on. There's no penalty if you end up having to cancel.
She uses that
or
time frame to
rebook.
advantage. I know you need to be done within the next 3 days. Why don't we get you down? hey, after you hang up, check with your husband, check with your wife, check with your boss. If that time slot doesn't work, call us right back. We'll do our best to find a spot to move you around.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get you down and make sure you get this
And
done.
for some reason, like I said, that works. Like it's a lot easier just to have you on the schedule and then move you around than it is to find a spot for you. I don't know why that works, but it works.
So on the calendar, so I need to check my calendar.
Yeah. So,
Which
honestly,
is
pretty
BS
much.
anyway. People,
yeah,
but
because
people
they
know
know.
their
They
calendar.
know. They've already told you that they need it at a certain time anyway, so they know when they're going to be free. They know their schedule. I mean, unless there's whatever doctor's appointments or something like that. But it's pretty much the same thing. Say, no, I hear you. I understand that. That's fine. Let's get you on the schedule. You did say you need this done in the next 2 days. You need this done by tomorrow. You need this done by Friday. Let's just book you. Let's get you on. Let me get all your information. I'm on the phone with you right now, so you don't have to do this again. And if you do realize on your schedule that you messed up and you need us to reschedule you, what are you doing with the lights, man?
I'm messing you up, aren't I?
You forgot to bring that with you. So it's the same. It's pretty much the same. Yeah. Acknowledge it.
Okay, so they have to go through the stuff and they don't know how long it will take. So something like an estate clean out or something like that.
Right, and this is a good example of why you should ask what their time frame is in the beginning, because they're going to probably say to you, "Oh, really, not for like another month. We're not cleaning this out for another month. You really messed up that light." So you say, "Okay, I can understand this must be frustrating. A house clean out. Sometimes it's a bad reason why they have to do this." So you say, "I hear you. I understand that, but here's what I like to do for you. Let me put you on the schedule for like 3 weeks from now," if they said like a month. We'll get you on, you'll have a spot, and you'll have a date in mind as to what your target is to get this stuff done. So it can kind of help you in your mind frame of, I need to have this done by the 25th. And if it starts getting closer and you get that reminder, within 48 hours of the job that, hey, you've got a booking with junk doctors, and you realize, crap, I am nowhere near done, call me and we'll reschedule it for you. But it's a lot easier just to get you on so you have that target date, and we're on the phone now, so let me just get your information, so you don't have to do this all over again.
They say when you set a goal, you have to have a deadline.
Yeah.
So you're telling them, hey, why don't you give yourself a deadline so you can actually get this done.
Mm-hmm.
They want to call around for pricing, and to be honest with you, most of what everybody tells you, check with spouse, check calendar.
It's to call for pricing.
They're calling around for pricing.
Yes.
Yeah, they're really likely not doing either one of those.
Sure.
They might check with their husband after they've called, or the wife after they've called.
A few places to give the husband the prices, yeah.
All right, so
well,
the
and
pricing
I
will
always
have
like
to
to
do
personalize that one because, you're talking to a single mother with 2 kids. I'm all about budgeting. I get it. But listen, I will tell you that being in this business for as long as I have, I know that junk removal companies, we all pretty much price the same. We price on the amount of space your stuff takes up in the truck. Our trucks are pretty much all the same. All of our expenses are the same. But with us, you're going to be hiring somebody who is local, and we can get you on. We're on the phone now. We'll get you on the schedule right now. And if you do find that you still want to call around, and you find someone a little bit cheaper, please go right ahead. Give me a call. There's no obligation. There's no penalty if you have to cancel.
And that right there, generally once somebody schedules, they're actually not going to follow through and call the companies.
No, because they've already got
It's already done. It's checked off. It's done. They quit worrying about it. And also what they're going to realize is they're going to call a couple of different companies, and they're going to realize this person was correct. It's all explanations are the exact same.
I'm usually right.
All right, and this one you don't hear a whole lot, but
Which one was this?
they might do it themselves.
Oh, yeah.
But
no, I don't hear that as often, but we do get a few every now and then.
And the explanation of it's pretty fun, which is basically walking the person through it.
Right, exactly.
So go into that.
So they said, well, I'm not sure if I want to pay that amount. I think I might just end up doing it myself. Thanks very much. Okay, well, what were you looking to try to keep them on the phone for a second? What were you looking to pay? And they'll give you a number. And you're like, okay. I quote, our estimate was somewhere around this. If you think about it, you're probably going to go to Home Depot or U-Haul and you're going to rent a truck. How much is that going to cost you? Unless you have a truck yourself. But if you also have a truck yourself, you're going to have to find someone to help you. And probably buy them pizza and beer. And you're going to have to take what is going to take us an hour or two to clear this stuff out. You're looking at probably half your day, if not your all day, because you've got to take it to the dump. You've got to wait in line. Hopefully the dump on a Saturday, because a lot of times this is on a Saturday they're doing this, is still open. Make sure they're still open. And then you've got to, the pizza and the beer. And I mean, you can just kind of give all these ideas, and hopefully no one gets hurt. And you're wasting your Saturday. You've got a 5-6 hour job right there. And if you do have to rent a truck, how much is a U-Haul truck? I mean, like 99 to 150.
Yeah, by the time you add in mileage,
fill it up with gas, mileage, gas, all that.
Use real numbers.
Might be right. You say 99 to what? 150.
Yeah, so if you got it,
for a
hey,
truck?
first question I'd ask is do you have a pickup truck? Well, no, I don't. I say, okay,
Yeah, I
so
should have asked
you're
that.
probably gonna have to go rent a truck. So, and that's what they oftentimes say. Well, might just rent a truck and do it on my own. So, okay, well, yeah, I mean, that's definitely an option.
And I have heard that.
It's going to cost you about $99 to rent a truck. And then you're going to have to get a friend.
Somebody to help
you have
you.
to buy him or her beer and
pizza and beer. That's what you always pay for
there's
someone to
another $10 or $15 there. So you're at $115. And then you're going to have to take it to a dump. Some dumps aren't free. Around here we have free convenience sites.
Yeah, some of them
so
you
you're
have
still
to
going to
pay
go and you might have to pay $20 or whatever to dump.
it.
So anyway, we work it around to where it's $150, and then so you're going to have to take a lot of time to take this down. We might be able to do this job in 30 or 45 minutes. It's probably going to take you. Most likely it's going to take you longer. So let's say it takes an hour of your time, and then you have an hour drive, and you got to wait an hour at the dump. So you're probably 4 hours into this thing by the time you go and get the truck and you return the truck, and then you got to put gas in the truck. So basically, you're up to about $150. You're up to about 4 or 5 hours of your time.
Every day.
Based off your description, with us, you're probably looking somewhere around $250-ish, $300-ish, whatever it is.
Yeah, how much is worth your time?
So basically, you have a $100 decision to make. Is your time,
Your
the potential
Saturday.
of, and then we're not even factoring in maybe a trip to the urgent care if you throw
If
your
somebody
back
gets
out
hurt.
or somebody gets hurt, or if you damage walls.
Oh, right.
If you damage
Yeah.
walls, if you damage your hardwood floor, if you damage something,
You have to fix it.
It could be hundreds of dollars. So generally we're a pretty good option. You don't have to worry about it. You get it scheduled. It's basically going to cost you $100 more, and it's done.
And then you can go into, let's just put you on the schedule anyway, and you can make that decision. I'm on the phone with you now. You can use that excuse. You can use that reasoning again. I've got you on the phone. Let me just get your information. Let's get you on. If you do decide to rent a truck and you want to do all that on your own, feel free to give me a call and we can cancel it or reschedule. Put that in their head too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things you'll hear quite often is, and I hear junk removal companies all the time actually prompting the customer to do this, is why don't you text me some pictures?
Yeah.
And this is incorrect, because what happens is the company is telling the customer, text me pictures before they're actually scheduling the job.
God.
You don't want to do that. That's opening yourself up for price shopping. So instead what you want to do is you want to get them through the call, and then for some reason you want pictures. At the end of the call, you're going to say, okay, so we got you scheduled. You're about to get a confirmation email. If you would respond to that email, respond to that text message, whatever, with your pictures, I'll take a look. We can let you know a roundabout price. This might be something you would do if the customer seems like, I don't know if they're really going to actually do this job.
Yeah.
And maybe it's 50 minutes away, and you're like, I don't want to drive 50 minutes to not do this job. The other end of it is you'll have customers that'll sometimes say, hey, can I just send you pictures? And we'll say, yeah, certainly. So here's what we need to do. Let's go and get you booked. We'll get you on the calendar. You get that confirmation email. Shoot us those pictures right over, and we will take a look. We will respond back with an estimate.
But always reiterate with that customer that I'm still only going to be able to give you a soft estimate on this. Pictures can be deceiving. There could be something under that stuff, behind that stuff. We're not quite sure. I can absolutely give you a soft estimate, but once the guys get on site, they'll give you a true quote of how much it's going to cost. It's just something else to remind them.
Yeah, pictures, or if they want estimates over the phone as well. All right, single item pricing explanation. This trips people up a lot. So if somebody calls up and they say, I have a couch, how do we handle that? I mean, what's it going to cost? How do we handle that?
Well, you ask, first thing I'll ask, again, after all the other questions, is...
Get the information gathered.
After all that's done, is it a standard couch? Is it a sleeper couch? Sometimes you may actually want to ask, like, is it on a second floor? Exactly. And then say, well, yeah, a standard couch. What you're telling me about your standard couch is probably going to be around our minimum of $125. But when the guys get there, they're going to give you that quote, let you know exactly how much it's going to cost. So, what day is good for you?
Yeah, and that's an excellent way to handle that. As you noticed, she went right from the price right into the close of the job as well. You'll book a lot of those. Sometimes you can add in a little extra just to make it sound a little better.
Of course.
Such as, you're probably looking at about $125, and of course that includes us going in. We're going to go up to that third floor. We're going to get that sleeper. We probably would charge a bit more than $125.
A little bit more than for the sleeper.
For a third floor.
That's why I said standard couch with what you're telling me.
Right. So if it's a sleeper on the third floor, we're going to go all the way up. We're going to get that 150-pound bear of a sleeper sofa that bends, and that if you're not careful, and you don't tie it away, the spring is going to spring out, and it's going to push everybody down the floor.
I know, this is great too, because to keep that personality going.
Right. It includes all that.
You're not
and then you go right into booking. Excellent way to handle that. So couch, love seat, fridge, all that would be handled about the same way. You need to make sure you get details on those particular items. Now, a hot tub. Hot tubs come in 2 to 3 different. I mean, it's 3 different sizes. Your most common are 6x6 and 8x8. There are some 4x4s.
Yeah, few.
So if somebody calls up and they said they have a hot tub they need removed, how do you handle that? question.
I will say, well, about how big is it? Sometimes they don't know if it's a 6x6 or an 8x8, but they know how many people it sits. So you can, if it's a 6-seater, four people, and it's probably like more like a 6x6. And you say, well, yeah, we removed the hot tub. It's probably going to be somewhere in between the ballpark of 400 to 550. I'm just spitballing here. But when the guys come, they're going to give. Oh, it all depends on where it is. The access to the exits, how far away from the truck, getting it out of the porch or wherever it's sitting in, how hard it is to tear that apart. We do have the equipment, but it just depends on the labor and how long it's going to take. Let the guys come out there. We've got an availability tomorrow morning between 8 and 10. We can come out there. We'll give you that quote. And if you're happy with it, we'll take care of it for you right then and there.
Perfect.
I keep repeating it, but that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Keep saying it over and over again, but that's how we do it.
Yeah, well, repetition is key in this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it'll become like second nature after a while.
Yep. So, and when customers demand some sort of price estimate, you'll get this a lot. They'll say, well, I've got a couch, I've got a love seat, I've got 6 boxes of stuff, I have a computer monitor, I've got a couple bags of clothing, I've got 4 2x4s.
Oh my God.
And you're jotting this down, and you're kind of picturing it in your head. And then all of a sudden, if they ever say something like, and I've got just a room full of general junk.
Random
well,
stuff.
Oh, that just throws out any chance of a price estimate.
Okay.
But when they're able to give descriptions like I did before, the room full of general junk, then you're jotting it down and you're saying, okay, based off your description, you're probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $300. That's about 3/8 of a truckload.
Mm-hmm. Turn it around on them based on your description, just in case the guys come there and they're
exactly.
Like,
So once we get on site, we're going to get you that firm estimate and let you know. Again, this is based on your description.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see this, so it could be off, but I'm guessing it's 300, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you need this done in the next 3 days. Why don't we go ahead and get you on the calendar, and we'll come out and get you that price. If you're good with it, we'll do the job. I've got these Thursday slots of 10 to 12, or I can do a 3 to 5 in the afternoon. If Friday works better for you, I have a 1 to 3.
Mm-hmm. What's better for you?
And then you schedule the job. That's the best way to handle that. You always want to reiterate based on your description. So companies are never going to be able to give a firm price over the phone.
Can't.
Unless it's like a single item, and even then, that's not.
You have to be careful.
Yes,
because there's
100%.
there's factors to it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if a customer has an item, there's an extra recycling fee on televisions. This is pretty common.
Yeah, tires.
So when do you tell the customer that extra recycling fee?
I would tell them right at the end. I mean, maybe even try to factor that into what, if you have to give them an estimate over the phone, factor that in if they really need this estimate. But you go through the pricing. You've heard it. And at the end, say, okay, the guys are going to come. They're going to give you a quote. There may be some small recycling fees on the TVs, the tires, whatever but they're going to go through all that with you and explain it to you when they're on site. So they're going to see you between the hours of blah, blah, blah. They'll give you a call half hour before they get there. You're not trying to hide it from them, but you are explaining it to them. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. You're
You're the one that trained me. You trained the call center director.
So if we got any questions or anything?
Yeah,
over
I
here?
was just going to say that.
Yeah, we got a couple coming in.
Okay.
So we've got one from Dana on YouTube, and this one is, what do you do when the customer states that the load is 100% scrap? Do you still go through all the price points? Do you discount or full rate?
Yeah, so on scrap metal recycling, we always charge the full load rate. And when they say, hey, the load's just 100% scrap metal, we would just respond and say, okay, well, we still charge based on the amount of space, so on and so forth. And then if they say, well, it's scrap metal, you can earn money off of it. Mm. And then our response is, well, we don't, we will take the stuff off and recycle it, but, we're set up to charge by the amount of space your stuff taken on the truck. We're providing the labor, so on and so forth. And the amount of money that you get from scrap metal recycling wouldn't cover our operating costs.
No.
And generally they're fine with that. If you feel like there's actually a chance of scheduling this job, which how often can you actually schedule a scrap metal pickup and charge people for it a decent amount? It's not all that often. It happens, but very very seldom if they have a decent amount of metal. You could say, all right, I tell you what, it sounds like you got scrap metal. It sounds like it's going to be a full truckload. We might be able to credit you back like $50 or something. So that's something you can do.
If you want to hang on to that, if you feel like you're going to lose it, I agree with that.
Generally, you don't get those jobs.
No, but we do get questions like, well, you can sell this stuff back. Yes, sir, I understand that. However, we don't have the capability, or however you want to put
We
it.
just say we don't sell.
We
We just
don't
donate.
sell our stuff back. We either donate it or it gets recycled or sent to the landfill.
Yeah, we don't have the place to store the stuff.
Yeah, we don't have the capability.
We don't have the staff to sell it. We don't have the time.
Yeah.
We don't take the time to.
We're not in that
turn around and
business.
sell it. Instead,
Yeah.
what we can do is we can take it to the donation center. and We'll forge you a donation receipt.
Yep.
Yep. All right. If
Is there any others?
Yeah, we got one more.
Okay.
So from Glenn on YouTube, people don't want to talk on the phone anymore. Do you guys have texting in feature?
yeah, we have a
Yes.
text feature for text phone calls, and we also
Yep.
have online bookings. So, I mean, we get some text messages, but I mean, by far and away, we definitely get more phone calls.
I mean, I know what you're saying, but yeah, I actually lots of phone calls. Our phones are ringing off the hook. People are calling. But yes, and we have the feature where the reminder comes through a text message, and sometimes they'll text us back. And I'm doing it through the scheduling system because they're well, I'm not going to be there till about this time. But I think that the initial call, the booking call, it's calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, generally,
But
I mean,
we do have
get
the
a
text
decent we
feature.
get a decent number of picture messages and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah,
but
we do.
It's mainly phone calls.
It's mostly
The majority
phones.
phone calls, and then online bookings. About 25% of our jobs are scheduled online.
Yeah.
So, anything else, Aaron?
Is that it?
That's all the questions for now.
Okay.
Awesome, man. All right. So
No
what
good
if
stories? Come on. I want to hear some crazy questions that somebody's asked.
what if they want? And well, you've got a good story, don't you?
I've got lots of good stories. What do you
All
want?
right, tell us about the old lady that called. That because we dropped. Was it? What did we drop on her?
Oh. Well, she's a repeat customer.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this when she called because she usually deals with Zach.
Yep.
And she's like, I've been really upset. And I'm like, okay, what is it? What can I, you try to be empathetic.
Yeah.
What is it? What can I do for you? Well, your guys were up there in my attic. This was 2 days ago. So already I'm like, 2 days ago. Okay. And they were just throwing boxes down, and we're standing there trying to tell them what we want to keep and what we don't want to keep, because this was a labor job, actually, mostly. We weren't really taking a lot of stuff. They were actually paying us to move things. And all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, a box fell on my friend's head. And I'm like, what? I mean, I didn't say it like that, but I was like, oh my God, what do you mean? Like, explain to me how that, so you get as much information as you can, try to calm her down. And as it turns out, she was just trying to get a big discount, and no one ever got hurt. This is when, you say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Listen, I'm going to have to talk to my supervisor about this. And please just let me get right back to you. I've got all your information here in front of me. I will take care of this. You want to sound like you're on their side, but of course you need to find out from the guys what exactly happened. And then
this was the same lady that about a year and a half ago accused us of stealing her
Stealing her
toilet seat off her
toilet
toilet. Like we actually
who
went there
steals a toilet seat?
and we took her seat off and we took it. So. But she's got some stuff going on. She's done maybe 4 or 5 jobs from us, and every single time she's had a
There's
complaint.
something.
But she's always come back and used us again. So.
Yeah, and she comes back, right?
Yeah.
But even if you know that this is probably unfortunately a BS call, you have to make them feel like what they have to say is important, and you're listening,
and
I'm
mentally-
going to get somebody on this.
Mentally, she might actually think that actually occurred too.
It did hurt. Yeah, you never
She's got-
know.
she's got
You
something
don't.
going
Yeah,
on.
you don't know that.
So
Yeah.
what if they want an estimate separate from the job? So they want us to come out, provide a quote, and then come back later.
And then come back. Well, I always say, first of all, that we always come to the job ready to go. So if you're happy with the price, we're going to be ready to take care of it right then and there. We do have to, somebody has to pay for us to come out there. There's gas, there's time for the guys. Again, you may be, and you can acknowledge this. You may be chopping around, and I do understand that. But we all price pretty much the same. And if you find out that they do have other companies that are coming, book last. And do you want to tell them why? Because you're really good at explaining this.
Well,
You want to be the one that goes last.
Right. So, I mean, you can say, all right, if they've told you you're having 7 different companies come out, and you say, okay, yeah, I understand. The way we're set up, so we can give you the best price, is we do jobs the same exact time that we come on site.
The expenses are the same.
Well, because whether these companies tell you or not, the estimate that they're giving you is not free. They're factoring in the gas, they're factoring in the time, they're factoring in the vehicle wear and tear to go out there, and that's being included in on that cost, and as well as the cost of every other job that they do.
Yeah.
So it's like they're basically supplementing it.
Yep.
But what we do is we'll come out, we're going to do the job at the exact same time, so you're not having to double pay for those 3 things.
Mm-hmm. It's all done.
So what you can do is if you really want other estimates, is you need this done by Friday morning. Why not Thursday afternoon? You schedule us to come out. We'll get you a price quote, and then if you give us the go ahead, we'll do the job right then and there. If not, it's no obligation. You don't have to proceed, and that'll get this done before Friday. or well, let's say if it's Friday morning, let's say you say Thursday morning.
Thursday morning.
Yeah. So that'll get you done, get you all finished up before Friday. How's that
Before
sound?
Friday, yeah.
And you can do it that route if you want. Hey, there is a danger that maybe one of the other companies comes out there and provides a price quote and is able to actually sell that person on site. So if you're really confident that your guys are actually going to be able to sell that customer once they get on site, maybe go ahead and book it. If you've got the availability, maybe you go ahead and get it scheduled. If you guys are really tight, this is just going to be a little bit of a judgment call on your part because there's pros and cons for both. But that is something that you have in your repertoire. Let's say you're a single truck operator, you're as busy as can be. You cannot afford to go to a job for just an estimate to miss out on a real job that you're pretty confident is going to pay you. If you got multiple trucks running, maybe you just want to get on site. You're confident enough in your guys to be able to sell it, or you yourself, and you're not that busy. You're pretty confident you can sell it. Well, hey, try and be the first person out there. So this is a judgment call and a business decision you're going to have to make. But add that to your repertoire.
And also you can say, a lot of these people will assume that someone with just a pickup truck is going to come by and give a quote and leave. You can always, the other companies might not be saying, we're going to come with our truck and ready to go. You can even say, we'll come with an empty truck. You can say that our guys are going to come out there and we're going to be ready to go. We'll give you that quote and we can start right then and there. Even if it's not finished today, we can finish it in the morning, blah, blah, if it's a large load. But I don't know if those other companies are saying we're coming with a truck.
Well, if your guys can, and this is when it's really important for your guys to be able to sell. If your guys can sell, you might
your crew's got to sell too. Yeah.
Okay, so what if they want a booking for a time you are not sure that you have, and they absolutely aren't going to accept anything else, such as they call in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they want a job that very same day. You're really not sure you're going to be able to make that happen. You try and get them scheduled for tomorrow. You say, hey, I'll get you first thing tomorrow morning, and they just aren't having it. They have to get it done that very day. It's got to be done now.
I've heard that.
How do you handle it?
You book it. You book it. No matter what. That was that's his famous. Just book it. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
Book it and figure it out. But see, now the thing is, you want to get them on the schedule because now they're probably not going to call anybody. You haven't lost that job. And if you're able to finagle your schedule around it and get to them, great, awesome. And now they're going to remember you for the next time they need somebody. But if you know you absolutely know you can't do it, still book it. Tell them, listen, I'm going to talk to my crew. I'm going to see where they are. They may be at the dump. There's a lot of factors here, but I'm going to figure it out for you. And then you say, but if we can't figure it out, if I can't do it, we're going to just give me like 15 minutes. I'm going to call you back after I talk to the crew. Wait 15 minutes. You know you can't do it. Wait 15 minutes. Call them back. I did everything I could. I'm so sorry. I'm going to get to you first thing. We'll be there, between 8 and 10 or whatever time you open. I will be there first thing in the morning, or my crew will be there first thing in the morning. I mean, even throw a discount if you have to. I mean, if you think it's going to be a nice load, to make them feel a little bit better. But chances are now it's a little bit too later. They're too late. They haven't called anybody. Pretty much, you know that, and they're not going to call anybody again, most likely, because
they just think it's done. They think it's done and scheduled. They don't have to worry about it. And then all of a sudden, when you come back and you want to change it to the next time, well, all of a sudden they say, I can probably make this work.
I can probably make it work.
So the reason you go ahead and do this, and some people say, well, maybe this is a little bit dishonest, but one, it's going to be extremely difficult if they call in at 3 o'clock for somebody to find that time.
Who are they going to
find?
Two,
you're going to miss out on the job. So, and these people are not going to be generally upset with you. I would not wait hours. I wouldn't wait 2 hours to call.
No.
But if you call them back in 10 or 15 minutes, they still have the option to say, well, let me cancel. I appreciate you trying. Let me try somebody else. So you're still protecting your reputation. You're not no-showing anybody. We always offer that disclaimer in there. I'm pretty sure we can get you in. Let's go ahead and get you down and schedule. I'll check with my crew, and we'll call you back if we can't do it. So it's not like you're saying you're 100% can't. It's you're 100% able. We always try and take a look at our schedule and fit it in and make it work. And generally we can, but if you're a smaller operator, maybe that's not going to be the case. But you just call that person back and you try and get it rescheduled. Worst thing that's going to happen, they're going to cancel. They're going to go on to somebody else. But hey, you give it a shot.
But, and with that being said, though, that's when you can say, well, let me just leave you on the schedule for an 8 to 10 in case you don't find anybody tonight. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to find somebody this late. So I'm not going to cancel right now. Go ahead and let's leave you on the schedule so that you have that 8 to 10 spot. And then if you don't find anybody, you've got somebody in the morning.
Yep.
It's a great opportunity to hang on to.
All right, we're going to be wrapping up here in just a bit, guys. So any final questions, please get them in. We got any other questions right now, Aaron?
Yeah, we got one coming in right now, and we got one other up top. Give me a second, I gotta go back up a little bit here.
Okay.
I'm glad to know it takes you a while to scroll through the comments. That's good.
Yeah. Here we go. Al's Hauling Service requested another going over the pricing, might not have been on earlier, and I think I told him we're going to cover that at the end. I believe that's the case.
Call center pricing or the
yes,
pricing expert?
Yes, at the very end,
Yeah,
we're
we'll
going to
cover
go through
that in
all
just a
that.
minute. Yeah.
Yep.
Stay
and
tuned.
Then Code 3 Junk Removals got one coming in, says, how do you handle this? Customer sends a Facebook message for hot tub removal.
Okay.
You send him back a nice email stating it's $300, and you never hear from them again.
So you try not to give a.
Yeah.
It's tough. You
try
try
not.
not to give a price. You try and say, well, I need some more. We need some more information. What's a phone number we can call you on?
Yeah.
And get a private message. If they don't respond to that, then maybe a little bit later you respond back. Hot tubs range and this, that, between these prices. Generally, if you give somebody a price, there's a good chance they're not going to call. Even those options, hell, we have it on our website. It's text a picture for a price.
Yeah.
Approximate price.
For those who
And
don't want to
sometimes you give a price and they actually come back and book a job. Oftentimes we handle the same thing. They text a picture in for a price. Unless it's like a single item where we can tell what it is or whatever, we oftentimes say, we price based on the amount of space your stuff takes up. You're probably between this and this. And then we
And
try
that's
to
when you
schedule. Would you like to go and get scheduled?
And here, I have some availability tomorrow. Yeah, but
Yeah, the
try to
Facebook
get them on the
message-
phone.
try to get them on the phone.
Try to get them on the phone.
You can get them on the phone. There's a lot better chance for you. to
I
actually
will.
get scheduled.
I get lots of emails, and I don't ever answer that first email with the price. I say I'd love to talk to you about this. If you want to just give me a call. If not, go ahead and send me a picture. I will
and
say
just
that.
tell them
So
it
that
depends. It
conversation
depends.
goes.
And the reason you need to talk is it depends on several different variables, and you
Yeah,
can figure that out.
you can explain that.
Anything else, Aaron?
We got a question from Narelle saying, do you know anything about the Connecticut market?
I'm from Rhode Island.
Yeah, well, Melissa's from there, but as far as junk removal is
from
concerned,
Connecticut, Rhode Island.
not a tremendous amount. On the Rhode Island end of things, Rhode Island actually has one of the highest interest levels in junk removal in the entire state
Yes.
for the population, as far as on Google search trend reports. Now, on the Connecticut end of things, I don't know where Connecticut ranks. Check out Google search trends, and that'll give you an idea. There's money in Connecticut. There's people in Connecticut. Connecticut is a lot of parts of Connecticut are growing, so it's going to be
money in Connecticut?
plenty of money. So it's going to be a good market.
A lot of moving. People
It could be, as far as the competition, there could be some decent competition there, so it might be a little bit of expensive a market to operate in.
Yeah.
But I would imagine it'd be a good market. It's going to be better than New Jersey also, because Jersey's got that crazy A901 license that takes you a year to get. So Connecticut would be a good market in most areas of Connecticut. All right, guys. So this last little bit, we're just going to talk about the JRA call center. It won't take but a few minutes. I encourage everybody to listen, because I will tell you, this is the one service we created that I wish would have existed 3-4 years ago. Because literally, the first 5 years of Junk Doctors, between myself and Christian, we were always on this phone, no matter the time of the day. The phone would ring at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning. We'd be grabbing it. The phone would ring, or 8 a.m., whatever time. The phone would ring in the evening at night, 9:30, or in the middle of dinner, or went to church, or whatever you've got going on. You could be in the middle of a basketball game. You're sitting there trying to answer the phone, and there's screaming going on in the background. So you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't have to give examples. You know when this thing rings, you've either got to answer it or you're going to ignore it, and you're potentially missing out on business.
Missing money. You're losing money.
So the call center is open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. It will be Sunday hours here in about the next 2 weeks. Right now it's Monday through Saturday. Sunday's going to be added in about the next 2 weeks. So that's going to get majority of you. That's going to get 90% of the calls you're going to get. 95% of the calls you're going to get are going to be within those hours. The way it works is you use your regular phone number. You don't change your phone number. But what you would do is you'd get like a voice over IP phone provider, such as a Vonage. And on Vonage, what happens is you can port, if you've been using your cell phone or a different phone provider, or if you're already using a VoIP system, that's fine. You actually will forward that number to the JRA call center, and you can set a call schedule. You can actually have it scheduled to forward to us a couple different ways. During the times that the call center's open, or if you miss a call. There's also apps where you can just... Yeah, we can be your backup.
Yep.
If you want to do primary, and then when you're busy and you don't want to take them, then you're going to turn them off. There's a button you can hit on your phone that'll forward stuff directly to us, and then we'll answer it.
I'll get it for you.
So, your Vonage, your voice over IP system, that's your phone system. You just simply send the number to us. That means if you want call recording, you can set up call recording. There's generally a charge for it, but you can set up call recording. All your reporting, you have access to all the reports. You can see the calls that came in. If we missed any calls, which We might miss a few from time to time. They immediately get called back, and I can guarantee you it's very, very, very seldom do we miss one.
Now it is, yeah.
So extremely seldom, and then that's getting even better. We just hired 2 more people for the call center.
They're watching right now.
Yeah. So and
This
then
is part of their training.
Yep, and then like I said, it's a cell phone number. You can port that over to an IP provider as well. When the phone rings, our computer lights up. It pops up and it tells us what company is being called.
Yep.
So what if you're a customer and you're for on-call junk call in Oklahoma, and you're calling on-call junk call, then it's going to pop up on the screen, on-call junk call. So the phone gets
Their phone
answered.
number, their
Thank
name,
You,
yep,
Thank
all
you for
that.
calling on-call junk call. This is Melissa, Lee, Zach.
Not Melissa.
Yeah, whoever. I wouldn't be a very good Melissa, I don't think. And then what we're doing is as soon as that phone rings, this binder right here, so we have all of our customers.
This is my baby. I'm very proud of my binder.
Very simple, but it's also, the reason we use a binder and not technology in this case is because while the phone's on, while we're pulling their schedule up, we can also in turn be going to their spot in the book.
Yeah.
So all of our different
So all the
companies are in
stuff is
here.
open on the screen.
You can see we've got pictures. This is a great piece to create also for your own reference.
Yeah, I highly
We've got
suggest
pictures
it.
of different load sizes. We've got the address listed on here.
Yeah, all
We've
their
got the
information.
contact information listed on there. We have the service radius. If there's areas they don't service, if there's things they don't take, everything's on here in a quick reference guide so we know everything about your business. We explain everything to the customer. The customer, as far as the customer's concerned, Melissa is sitting in an office in Oklahoma taking
I was
this
just
phone
going to
call.
say that. I wanted to add that. Yes, we act like we are right there in your office. You know, someone's going to call and say, "Hey, do you guys do Waltham?" Well, yeah, we're in Waltham. Well, where are you guys? I'm in Framingham. Oh, great. Okay, you're right down. Yeah, we're right. Yeah,
Because
we're
the
not far.
company we represent is in Framingham. So the
yeah.
company we work for is in Framingham. If you're a business owner in Framingham and you travel to Tampa for a week vacation and you're still taking your calls while in your Tampa because you haven't switched to the JRA call center, then you're going to be telling somebody, ask where you're at. We're in Framingham because that's where it is. It's the same thing for us.
I mean, and I'll say things like, well, if I have to for some reason, let me just text my box while I'm on the phone with you and let me ask a question that maybe is a wild question.
So as far as availability, you'll use either a Workies, a House Call Pro, or Vonago scheduling system, and then we're going to have access to that. That's going to tell us your availability.
So
we're not just an answering service. We are booking your jobs just like you're our own junk removal company, Junk Doctors. We treat you the exact same. The job gets scheduled. You'll get a notification based on how you've got your scheduling platform set up.
Yeah.
Same day bookings, we will text you and let you know you've got a direct number into the call center for
I'm
any
on this all the
concerns.
time.
We can also make some outbound calls for you as well if needed.
Yeah.
So
We have a program that makes it look like it's your number that's calling them, caller ID.
Yep. So the pricing is there's 2 parts of the pricing. One is a monthly access fee. That's $295. Whether we take 5 calls for you or we take 500 calls, that $295 is going to apply. And then there's a $25 per booked job rate. So every single job that books is charged $25, but we do give you a 15% allowance for cancellation. So that means that if your call center bill is $100, then you're going to have $15 of that knocked off, so it's going to be $85.
Okay.
That because on average, most junk removal companies see about a 15% cancellation rate.
Yeah.
When the call center's main benefits are probably pretty obvious. One is the freedom. I tell you, this is a heck of a business for us to have because we know once we get somebody, they're never going to want to leave. So I mean, it is an excellent. The business independence is an excellent business. But
talk to.
Well, when the reason for that is it just opens. It's freedom. You're no longer a slave to anything. You've now taken control of your business instead of your business controlling you. And you can focus on selling your company. You can focus on maintaining your trucks, making sure you're hiring the right people. And you're turning it over to a company that all they do is take junk removal calls, and they book thousands upon thousands of junk removal calls for companies throughout the country. So if you compare cost here, a lot of people, let's say you book 100 jobs in a month, then obviously that's going to be $2,500 that you're going to spend in that month. If you times that out by 12, that's $30,000 a year. You are going to struggle to find anybody to answer your phones that works for you for $30,000. And if you do, it's just going to be a 40-hour job. It's going to be 40 hours where we're open almost twice that amount of time. You're literally getting almost your entire time covered, and it's at a fraction of the cost. The reason we can do that, the reason we can have the people in there and give you access to multiple call center reps to make sure that if you have 4 people calling at the same exact time, that call's probably going to get answered, which we all know they come in clusters, is because of economies of scale. We've got multiple companies throughout different time zones in America, so that stuff is able to be staggered out. That way we can have multiple call center reps, and we can make sure calls get answered, and then it's free. And then the chances are we're probably going to book jobs better than the majority of our customers can, just because that's all we do. And we've trained salespeople.
And but it's not. It's what there was a video today. Shane is in Louisville right now with one of our clients, and he made a great point. He likes to be on the jobs with his guys. He likes that manual labor, and he was saying that I'll pick up a call, and they were literally, while they were doing the video today, they were breaking down a shed. It was a metal shed. This thing was loud, the pieces that they were, and so he was literally like, here's a great example. I'm video chatting with all of you on YouTube. The video is on the YouTube page, and he says that I can't take a call right now. I'm gonna miss 3 or 4, maybe more than that, calls because of how loud it is, and it's hot out here, and I can't take the calls. It helps that
but
I'm not worried about it.
We've got the call center, don't have to worry about
That's
it.
what I mean.
So when he first started, one of the things he said is, hey, I always listen to the call recordings. I want to see how it's being handled, and now he doesn't even bother.
He doesn't.
It also, Blake uses some of our other services too, so we've got as much skin in the game as they do, because he has to get jobs and get jobs scheduled for us to get our revenue off the advertising.
The advertising.
But we treat everybody the exact same because we know what it costs. If you go out and hire somebody, that person doesn't understand how critical it is that you schedule that job necessarily, because they don't know the amount of money that's spent to actually get those jobs.
We do.
All right. On the $25 booking, you can recoup most of that by raising your prices. I mentioned this earlier. You can get your average job up. Most of you can get your average job up by about $15. So that leaves you a $10 amount that you're actually paying at that point. We're good enough on scheduling. You can raise it up 15 or 20 maybe. So it's almost like once you factor in probably an increase in closing percentage, it's like you're getting the service, you're getting this freedom, and you're actually making money by doing it. Making more money. Which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So that's the JRA call center, guys. Our phone number is 919-617-1975. Now, if you call it right now, nobody's going to answer because the JRA portion is closed. Call center's open for another few minutes.
For another little bit.
But you give us a call tomorrow. We'll be happy to discuss that call center with you. And any final questions before we wrap? Awesome, guys. Well, hey, we always appreciate everybody for tuning in. 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Tuesday evenings, for What's Your Problem on the Junk Removal Authority YouTube channel. You can always check us out at junkra.com. Please, 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 before you quit watching, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. And if you guys are if you're not following us on Facebook, please head over to the Facebook channel. We now post stuff pretty regularly, pretty informative. Yeah. So make sure you follow us on Facebook as well. That is Junk Removal Authority. I am Lee Godbold, joined today with Melissa. We will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.